Today we're going to cover going over an ACM Lockdown, and this lockdown will be triggered by a token grant. So the first thing we're going to want to do is go to Physical Access and Policies, and you'll see here I have one that's already created, and we'll just walk through what that is. It says lock down all doors, no access. So if you see here, you have a couple different options. You don't want to install this just yet because we're actually going to enable the install later on with a global linkage. So we're just going to select door, and we're going to go to the Mercury tab. And you'll see here you have what you can change the door mode to become. So I'm going to change this to lock no access, and I'll do that for the offline mode, the custom mode as well. And for the schedule, I'll leave it 24 hours active, and I'll also mark the priority checkbox here and hit save. From there, I'll go to Physical Access and Global Actions. And if you see here, I have 6 created. Now, the first 3 are for the actual lockdown, and the next 3 are for the restore after the lockdown is completed and everything needs to go back to normal. So we'll walk through step by step, and then we'll kind of talk about how to link them all together afterwards. So the first one is we're going to deactivate all the badges on this lockdown. So if you see here, the type is going to be an access group, and it's an install uninstall. And for this one, we're going to uninstall, and we're going to uninstall these access groups. So basically, anybody who has access to the building will no longer have access to the building. And if you see here, the only people that are the exception, or will be the exception, are the first responders, the all access access group for them. So that's the first one. The second one is activate that first responder badge. So it's going to be another access group, and it's an install. And you notice here we just installed this first responder all access group. And the third one will be to lock down all the doors, and that's a policy install uninstall. And if you see here, the subtype will be an install of the policy we created, which is lock down all doors, no access. And we'll get to 4, 5, and 6 later on. We'll go to the global linkage, and you'll see here I have one that's lockdown facility. So if you go to this first page, you see basically the breakdown of what everything is. If you go to the Devices tab, you'll see here I have a bunch of different readers. Now these are the readers that somebody will be able to swipe on in order to activate this lockdown sequence. So in order to get there, I just select the door, and then these are the available doors that I didn't use for this, but basically all the doors that are in here are the ones that I want somebody to be able to swipe on with a particular badge to activate this lockdown. So if we go to the Events tab, you'll see here I have 2 options, alarm point and alarm, or input point and alarm. That's for another scenario. The one you're going to be focusing on is a local grant. So on a valid grant, on any of those readers by a particular card, you'll get thrown into lockdown. So you'll focus here, it's a local grant here, out of all these options. And if you go to tokens, this is where I can select the specific token I want to use. So if you notice here, there's 2 in this already. One is called Lockdown Badge, and then I have one other member. Maybe he's a supervisor, or he's the president of the company, whatever the case is. Those are the 2 people that can activate this lockdown sequence. And the actions here, this is where everything gets tied together. So I have a couple different options here, but don't worry about those. The ones you're going to focus on are 1, 2, and 3, which is what we already discussed. You do have the option here if you have flashers or strobes or sirens, you could turn those on also, and it's just a sequential order that these will go, and you'll notice they'll all kind of happen at once when you activate that lockdown. Alright, and now we'll go back to global actions, and we'll focus on 4, 5, and 6 here, which is going to be part of our restore. So if you see here, we'll go to number 4, and this is going to reactivate all our badges. So you see here we're going to install this access group, and we're going to install all these access groups that were previously installed. We're going to leave out the first responder here because we're going to deactivate that badge once again. If you want to keep that badge active all the time, you're more than welcome to keep that there. But for our purposes, we're going to go ahead and remove that. And then for number 5, this is where we're going to deactivate that first responder badge. You'll see right here it's deactivated. The subtype is uninstall, and type is the access group right here. And we'll go ahead and hit cancel. And then we'll go ahead and go to restore all doors. You notice I'm hitting cancel as I'm doing this is because these are already created. when you're doing it for yourself, you'll hit save for any of these changes. So the policy install uninstall here, it's a subtype is going to be uninstall, and we're going to uninstall this policy that we created before. And once again, you can go ahead and hit save. We'll go to that global linkage, and this is the lockdown reversal or the restore of the lockdown. So you see here you have a recap of everything that went on. So we'll go to devices, and these are all the doors, once again, that you could swipe on to reactivate this. You can also do input points and all that kind of, you have all these different options here. For our purposes, we're just going to do door. And these are the doors that I selected. They're the same doors that you could activate the lockdown on, the same ones you can deactivate the lockdown on. You can just pick a single reader if you want. It's entirely up to you. And then we'll go to events. And again, it's going to be a local grant. And we're going to select a particular badge that's going to be able to restore this. And you see here, it's our lockdown badge or our security building administrator. So either of those two badges will be able to restore the lockdown. And then right here, once again, I have a couple different options here, but the ones you're focused on are 4, 5, and 6, which we just created. And that will put yourself into a lockdown and then restore you right out of the lockdown. Now, there's a couple other ways you can do this. You can trip this with an input, whether you have a push button under a desk or something like that, or you can actually do this through a map, and we have another video that's created to show you how to activate this through a map sequence as well.